Hey, in this video I will be covering CPSIA tracking labeling requirements for importers and Amazon sellers. So I will explain the basics, what a tracking label is, which products require one, what one could look like, how to create a file, and a number of other things. I'm just going to skip right to the content. So number one, what is a CPSIA tracking label? The purpose of the tracking label is to identify unsafe products, and it should cover company name, contact details, production location, okay? Because a big company like Mattel, they might be making a single, say, product line at multiple locations. They might work with a factory in Vietnam, one in Mexico, one in China, right? Production date, you may run, well, a big company may produce the same product on a frequent basis, so you need to specify the production date and also a batch number. Now keep in mind the specific requirements may change. This could be outdated already, right? Or even incorrect. So check the CPSC website, okay? They cover this in great detail. And there's also a small business ombudsman. But anyway, the principle is that you're placing a product on the market. If something goes wrong, it could be that it's design, like there's a design error or a production error. Okay, either way, if it's non-compliant, you need to be able to identify the SKU. You need to identify the production location, production date, and this should all be unified in a batch number. Okay. And it should be permanently affixed, not just a little insert or a sticker. It should be permanent on that product. Okay, so that's the principle behind a tracking label, and this means that it's unique for each batch. Okay, it's unique for each. When you make, say, a green toy, and you ordered that from your supplier in March, and then another one in September, then these are two different batches. Okay, even the SKU may be the same, the production location may be the same. You may only have one production location. Okay, and for the specific layout, I'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so which products require tracking label? Now CPSIA, you may or may not know, covers all children's products. Okay, and not just if you consider it to be a children's product, if it's generally considered to be appropriate for use by children 12 years or younger, then it is considered to be a children's product. Now, once again, you can reach out to the CPSC Small Business Ombudsman and get a assessment directly from them. And I think that's the best way to approach this if you're not sure if your product is classified as one. Okay. But yeah, the CPSC website is very informative. Okay, now what is needed? As I said, it could be a domestic US manufacturer or a US importer. Production location, batch number, as I said, that's for traceability, and this is pretty vague. Relevant information about the product and materials. The best way is to go and check the up-to-date labeling, the CPSIA tracking labeling requirement on the CPSC website. I don't want to show anything definitive here because that could be outdated by next week. So check the website. The point of the video is to help you understand what it is, because then it becomes, well, easier to implement. Okay, so how do you create a tracking label file? And that may sound like does that even have to be covered? But things can really go wrong. So when you work with suppliers overseas, like here in Asia, then if you just tell them, hey, this is my batch ID, and they may have no idea what to do with that. So you need to provide them with a ready-made label file. It could be EPS or Adobe Illustrator. You need to specify the print placement on the product. Should it be on the side, below? It needs to be visible and it needs to be permanent. Okay, so it's not something you leave to your supplier to decide, especially as, yeah, you might not want a tracking label to ruin certain design elements of your products. You may also need to go on the packaging. You need to specify the color and the dimensions. So yeah, there's a few things that go into this. So is the importer or manufacturer responsible for the CPSIA tracking label? And this is in the context of you importing a product from, say, China or Vietnam. Then it's ultimately you as the importer. They are pretty clear about this CPSC, that it's up to you to ensure that your product complies with all the criteria, all the requirements under CPSIA, including the tracking label. So it's not like, well, my supplier should sort that out. Yeah, maybe they should, but that's not how things work, especially if you have some experience dealing with factories in Asia. You know that's not how things are done over here. So it's up to you to make sure that you provide, like, first of all, you need to design the file, send it to the supplier, and also verify that it's correctly labeled. This should be part of your of your quality inspection routine. Okay, so is the tracking label mandatory? And to be honest, I think this question is a bit redundant, but yes, it is. It's not optional. And traceability is something we see more and more in the EU. It's required for many products. Okay, do I need a tracking label when selling on Amazon? Well, if your product is considered to be a children's product, and this is, once again, be careful. Maybe you don't consider it to be one. Maybe the CPSC does. Maybe Amazon consider it to be one. So yeah, you definitely need to reach out to them. What can happen if you don't have a tracking label? Well, the goods could be confiscated by the US Customs. Your listing could be rejected or removed by Amazon. I know that they do request photocopies of labels sometimes. And your, well, customers could also report you directly to the CPSC. They have a nice little form for that, which could in turn trigger a recall. And, well, retailers will not pick up your product if it fails to comply with something as basic as a tracking label requirement. So how do you make sure that your products are correctly labeled? I actually mentioned this already. It really comes down to quality inspection. So this should be part of your checklist. You need to instruct your QC guy, okay, this is the label, this is where you should find it, this is what it should look like, and instruct them, or him or her, to document that, so you can sit back wherever you're at and look at your QC PDF and say, okay, they got it right. Because you don't want to mess up like that. You don't want to ruin a container or spend like 10K on relabeling just because the supplier messed up. As always, up to you to make sure that they got it right. Alright, if you want to learn more, you can also sign up for our free compliance information software. So go to compliancegate.com/free.